has said that the best laid plans of mice and men sometimes go awry. If John Steinbeck was not the one that said that originally, he used that as a basis for one of his novels, from which at least 2 movies have been made. My plan this morning was to develop a sermon that would be fairly short in view of my recent procedure, and yet things do not always go as planned, especially where the length of a preacher's sermon is concerned. But I want to talk to you this morning about 7-Ups, and there's not one turnip among them, for those who remember the turnip sermon. How to have a good day every day. You might think it is impossible to have a good day every day. And perhaps it is for you. But here are some steps to take that I believe will make each day as good as possible. First of all, wake up. This is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Many preachers have used this verse as if it was talking specifically and exclusively about the first day of the week, which is, by prophecy, they say, this designates the first day of the week upon which Christians would gather together at times and places such as this and eat the Lord's Supper. But it really is talking about every day. The Lord makes every day. He says in Matthew chapter 5, I make the sun rise on the just and the unjust. God is in control of the elements. He's in control of the sun, the moon, the stars. He's in control of the meteorological forces, rain, snow, sleet, and hail, such as that. And He makes every day. And I think we need to wake up every day realizing that He has made this day. And each day we can decide to have a good day, or at least as good a day as possible. Determination can be a strong motivator. Be determined to make the day better than you would have thought possible when you first opened your eyes, and it will be, I'm convinced, a better day. Dress up. Now, I'm not talking about a suit and tie. I'm not talking about a chiffon dress. I'm not talking about physical dress at all. In 1 Samuel 16:7, but the Lord said to Samuel, do not look on his appearance or on the height of his stature, because I have rejected him. Speaking about Saul. For the Lord sees not as men sees. Actually, he's speaking about one of David's brothers there. For the Lord sees not as man sees, man looks on the outward appearance, but the Lord looks on the heart. And so little David, who wasn't even here at the moment, wasn't even there at the time, out keeping the sheep, little David was the one that God intended to anoint, or have Samuel anoint, to replace Saul, son of Kish, as king over Israel. But each brother that came up, each of his older brothers that came up, Samuel thought, surely this is the one. But I think 6 brothers David had, and none of them was the one. It was David all along. The Lord looks on the heart. I'm not talking about dressing up on the outside so much, but the best way to dress up, I believe, is to put on a smile. A smile is an inexpensive way to improve your looks. So put on a happy face. If happiness is in your heart, share it with others. You know you can. And so, if you're having a good day, help others to have a good day. If you're not having a good day, don't let others know about that, because that can make them have a bad day also. So determine that you're going to have the best day you can possibly have each day. In Psalm 94:19, David said, when the cares of my heart are many, your consolations cheer my soul. David was at times weighed very heavy with the cares of his heart. And yet he turns to God in prayer, and God consoled him and cheered his soul. I believe there are a lot of times we just need to count our blessings. Think about what God has done for us each day that we get up and what we can do for Him today. That's up on the inside, not so much on the outside. Shut up. Proverbs 13:3, whoever guards his mouth preserves his life. He who opens wide his lips comes to ruin. Say nice things and learn to listen. And listen to learn. God gave us 2 ears and only 1 mouth. If you would not want anyone to say it to you, do not say it to them. Follow the golden rule, you know what that is. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Along this line, James wrote in chapter 1 and verses 19 and 20, know this, my beloved brothers, let every person be quick to hear, slow to speak, slow to anger, for the anger of man does not produce the righteousness of God. Somebody suggested that if somebody says something to you that you don't like, count to 10 before you respond, before you react. And that will probably give you a little bit of time to think more soberly about what you are about to say in response to that. And so that's a good rule of thumb, I think, to follow. Stand up. In 1 Corinthians 16, verse 13, be watchful, stand firm in the faith, act like men, be strong. Now here in Corinth, they were facing a lot of problems. Chapter 16 is the final chapter in this book. He's dealt with all these problems. And he's telling them to be watchful. Be careful. Watch what you say. Watch what you do. Stand firm in the faith. No matter what is happening around you, don't let it deter you from doing the right thing in the right way. And we can do the right thing in the wrong way. Speak the truth, but not speaking in love. That's doing the right thing, but not in the right way. Speak the truth, but speaking in love. Stand up for the truth of the gospel. If we do not stand for the truth, we will be helpless in the face of trial and temptation. In the parable of the sowers, Jesus talked about the different types of soil that the sower encountered as he scattered seed. You had the wayside soil. That was the soil in the figure that was tamped down hard by the constant walking of the people over it. And it was so hard that when the sower went and scattered seed on the wayside, it could not fall down into the dirt in order to germinate. And the birds of the heaven, he said, would swoop down and eat that seed. And then he later explains that as Satan snatching the word out of your heart, lest you should believe and be saved. And then you had the thorny ground. The thorny ground was the ground they received the truth, but yet there were all these thorns in their life, cares, pleasures, deceitfulness of riches that choked out the word. And thus they would be faithful for a while, but then fall away. And then there was the stony ground. And the stony ground represented the trials and tribulations that we face every day. And we need to understand these things will come. Some days they come more rapidly than other days. Sometimes it seems to me like Satan is firing them with a machine gun, maybe even a Gatling gun. And we've got to develop the kind of knowledge and understanding of God's Word that will help us to stand up under Satan's onslaught. And he can use anybody that we know, the people that we don't know, to bring us away from God or keep us from God. And so stand fast for the faith. Act like men. Be manly in the truth. Don't let people sway you away from the truth. Philippians 4:13, look up. I can do all things through him who strengthens me. Look up to the Lord in prayer and Bible study. Draw strength from him, and he will give it if we want it. And so look up. Look up to God. He has all the answers. It's just up to us to dig until we find those answers. Reach up In Proverbs 3, 5, and 6, trust in the Lord with all your heart, and do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make straight your paths. We just got to make up our mind each day that God's way is right. Yes, there are trials, there are tribulations, there are temptations, there are struggles that we face. We all have our different struggles. Some perhaps are more difficult than others. And, we want to keep in our minds that, we've never walked a mile in somebody else's shoes. And they may really be struggling. And it's up to us to do what we can to help them in that struggle as we interact with one another. And we can help them reach up by reminding them of what the Lord has promised, what the Lord has done, and what the Lord has promised to do. And acknowledge the Lord in all that we do and in all that we say, and he will make straight our paths. Put your trust in him by making a consistent and proper application of his word in your life. Finally, lift up. Philippians 4, 5, second half of that verse in verse 6. The Lord is at hand. Do not be anxious about anything, but in everything, by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God. Now, sometimes the word at hand, or the words at hand, means soon. When John the Baptist and Jesus both announced that the kingdom was at hand, they meant that it was about to be established. And it was established shortly after Jesus went back to heaven. But sometimes it simply means that someone is nearby. And I believe that's the idea here. The Lord is nearby. Yes, he's in heaven, and we tend to think of heaven as a faraway place. But keep in mind that God is omniscient and omnipresent. He's everywhere present with us as he looks down upon the earth and he sees the struggles that we are having. And he's already given us the information we need. And it's up to us to dig that information out. Lift our prayers to God. Supplication, intercession, confession, and thanksgiving. All of these things will help us to remember that we are dependent upon God for everything. But he will provide us for the things that we need. If you need to make your heart right with God, it's only a step, that step being the decision to do what's right in the light of God's word. And whatever it is that you may need to do in a public way this morning, we encourage you to do it while we come and while we sing.